We are in North Georgia, so we're excited to see you guys tonight. We're in North Georgia where it's chilly. It's not as cold tonight as it was last night, though. I will say that. I think it's in the 40s tonight.
Yep.
We've got our little fire going that you can kind of see. I don't know if Facebook can see our fire, but on Instagram you can see the fire. So we have our fire going.
They can see the flicker anyway.
Okay, good. See, I love that people love to take care of us. I've had 4 people tell me you can hear us, so good. So yes, you can see the flicker of the fire. We are full as techs. We have had 2 really fun, sweet meals with people today, just catching them up on our life and hearing about their lives. So it's been a good day.
It has. I was trying to think where we came to you from 2 weeks ago.
Jacksonville, yes?
I don't remember. That's
I think
why.
so.
Yep, that sounds right.
That
I
sounds
So
think it was
last
in
week was
Jacksonville.
Super Bowl and Valentine's
Yes,
Day.
there was too many things going on last Sunday, so
We had dinner with friends Sunday night. I went to Northside and hung out with some of the men and watched the second half of the Super Bowl.
yes.
And so yeah, we're excited to be back with you this week, and we wrapped up in Jacksonville, and
Yes. And then we ended up, I think we talked to you guys, I guess, on Sunday night in Jacksonville. And we left Jacksonville on Monday morning.
Yep.
Yes. On Monday morning. Super funny story. We're leaving Jacksonville. And at our campground, we're getting all hooked up. We're almost ready to pull out. And this cute little old couple pulls into the site beside us. And he can't get his camper to set up right. And he pulls out from under it. And it ends up falling in the sand. Kevin and I
this is funny because of how it ends. Nothing was harmed in the.
Yeah, nobody was harmed. Kevin, I kept looking at Kevin. I just couldn't look away. And finally, I looked at Kevin, walked over there, and he said, well, you let me know if you need any help. And he kind of chuckled, and he kept working on it and hooked back up. And, well, all this time, he had pulled so far up in the site that he was blocking. We couldn't get out unless we backed out. So we finally just backed out and went all the way around. Came all the way around the circle, and he was still in the road.
But it's one of those things in the RV community. If you're a part of that community, you know this. But setting up, tearing down, all that, you get into a routine, and you really don't want other people to kind of mess up your routine. And if you get distracted, oftentimes you forget things. And so I didn't want to jump in, but he was an older gentleman. I wanted to be helpful if I could, and he said, no, I don't need any help. The only thing I need is someone smarter than me.
He was a funny little man. He was cute. But
Yep.
anyway.
And he ended up getting it set up and got out of the way, and we were able to pull through. And we hope that they had a great night's sleep and didn't
fall back off of their
fall back,
leveling
yeah.
blocks.
So
Anyway, it gave us a good chuckle. So then we made a couple of nights stop in Brunswick and got to see some dear friends there. And then camped out in Tifton for a few days. We knocked out all kinds of stuff. So we got to see a lot of you, got to do things like orthodontist and hair and check in on Gran. And then spent a couple days with my dad and with our family in Americas.
And while we were in Tifton, we got to participate. One of the Sunday school classes that we were a part of had a chili cook-off, and so congratulations to Andrea Martin. The Martin family won the chili cook-off with some really yummy chili, and there were about 8 or 9 really good chilies that we got to
Yes.
sample that day.
Yeah.
So it was
Sounds
fun
good.
to catch up with people, fun to hang out.
Yep, fun to catch up with all of our people at home. So after we left my dad's yesterday and actually headed to North Georgia, we will be in North Georgia for about 2 weeks. Yes, give or take a little bit. So we are looking forward to our time here. Our time here in North Georgia is going to be lots of kind of catching up and having the opportunity to connect with people from past stages of our lives. As well as, current stages, and just kind of share with them all the things that God is doing.
Yeah, we hope to be able to connect with some pastors in the Atlanta area. Lots of church plants that are taking place there, and so hope to be able to connect with some of them. We hope to be able to connect with some of the NAM missionaries as well. So lots of potential here in the North Georgia, Atlanta area, and so we're excited about that and look forward to what we can accomplish here, and also look forward to catching up on some video editing. We released another video, our Pittsburgh video, about 5 o'clock, and so that video is out there now, and we're trying to get caught up, and so we'll be a little more current on the YouTube front with some of our travel video, that side of our journey. So
Yes.
check out those videos if you haven't looked at them.
I think the Pittsburgh video is a cool video.
Yes.
And definitely one worth watching.
That's
Yeah, that's
Chloe. I don't know
Chloe
if you
over
can see
there.
Chloe, but
She's
she
out
said
of the frame a little
she
bit.
thinks the Pittsburgh video is a cool video, and I agree. It's one of our first. That was one of our most favorite stops, and so there's a lot of neat stuff, and I think it turned out great. Kevin did a good job getting it put together.
And then I am working on the Niagara Falls video right now as well, and that one is going to be a lot of fun. So
We've had a couple of different questions. One is, what is our most favorite place that we have visited?
whenever that question comes up,
Yes.
the girls' first answer is always Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls.
That
Yes.
was the coolest sight.
And that was the coolest site that we visited. And so if it's just about visiting, that always comes up. But that's part of the reason that we really enjoyed Pittsburgh as well. As far as ministry, the girls were able to be involved in some of the ministry that we did there, and so that was a really neat stop as well. One of my favorites as far as just a place to visit was the Bar Harbor, Maine area. We went to Acadia National Park, so a lot of neat opportunities that we've had for ministry in some of the cities, Washington, D.C. area, the Boston area. So
Yes. Excuse me. Another question. I feel like you should go grab my iPad and see if you can
You're
see
gonna have
any.
to help me get on there.
I will. I'll help you. Another question that we have been posed recently that I thought I'd throw out was, what is our relationship with the North American Mission Board?
yeah.
And so that's a good thing for us to maybe explain in more detail.
Yeah, the North American Mission Board, as you may or may not know, is the Southern Baptist Convention's missions arm for all of North America. And so as far as official capacity, we have no official relationship with the North American Mission Board, but all of our efforts are centered around reaching the missionaries and church planners that are related to the North American Mission Board, and we utilize their website to gain contact information. So their website is a great resource, and there are email addresses, oftentimes cell phone numbers, websites for church planners in each of the Send cities, but also just the Send network in general. And so we utilize their website for those resources, and then we also have a great relationship with several of the missionaries. Actually, one of the NAM missionaries in Florida, we were able to get connected with them through one of our pastors that we met in Miami, and so we had a great opportunity to I had a great opportunity to meet him, get to know him, and he is going to be a great resource in the weeks and months to come, and he is excited about being able to connect me with some of the people that he knows, and so that'll give us a little bit easier time in some of the cities where we might not have any relationships yet. He's going to help us get our foot in the door there. And so official capacity, there is none. Unofficial capacity, we utilize their resources. We stay in communication with some of their people and are making attempts to connect with some of their people in different places. I've communicated with the representative that is over the South region of the United States, and then also the Sin City missionary from New Orleans. I've had a chance to email with him about an upcoming opportunity that we have in the city of New Orleans.
Yes. Any other questions that we've been posed recently while I pull this up and see if there are any in the comments? I was trying to think.
I think someone on Instagram the other day asked what our favorite aspect of RV living was at this point. That's kind of a good question that we've been asked. What do you think? Chloe, you're in the Facebook feed. You're probably in the YouTube feed. You are not in the Instagram feed. There's her head.
We always say that the fact that we can be anywhere in the country but still be at home is really cool because we're getting to see lots of things. It's almost like every weekend is a, vacation, and because a lot of the ministry stuff we do and like school and stuff like that we do during the week, and so it's been cool to be in all these different places but be able to sleep in our own beds.
Yep, every night we can be where it doesn't matter where we are. We can be Bass Pro, Cabela's, Walmart parking lots. We can be in State Park, National Park. We can be anywhere, and it all feels like home when we get in our RV and we close the blinds. I really sometimes lose track of where we are from that aspect. So we really enjoy that. Some of the time that it's afforded us together as a family has been an awesome part of RV living. Oftentimes in very close quarters in the truck, other times in very close quarters in the RV, but we've really adapted well to that, and everyone seems to be handling that well. One bathroom is a challenge on Sunday mornings getting ready for church, and but today we kept our streak alive and we have not been late to church yet. So
I look like a ghost back here. Boo.
Okay. So far, it's just people saying hello, I think.
all right. Well, hello. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments.
Yes.
I can look up here on the Instagram comments.
Ain't nobody on the
Your
Well,
face.
your face is right up.
I know, right there in the.
Hello.
I can't see the other
So
one.
next, a lot of times
Oh yeah,
we will
I'll just
say
sit right here. Hold on.
what's next. So what's next for us is we'll be in North Georgia. We said that already. And then we are looking forward to in March being in Arkansas and New Orleans. You said New Orleans, but we'll be in Arkansas as well. So
Yep.
that's a couple of the things coming down the pipe. And then looking forward to heading back up the East Coast in April and seeing some of our friends that we got to meet back in the fall.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
I'm excited to see everybody and meet more people that Daddy got to meet and we did not.
Yes, hopefully we'll be able to expand. A lot of times in the cities that we go into, it'll be a lunch meeting or a breakfast meeting that I get to have while the girls are doing school. And so we're really looking forward to, on the way back through, now that some of the relationships are established and they know who I am and that kind of thing, it'll
Yes.
be easier to kind of introduce our families and hopefully get a chance to hang out with some of their families and share some time together where the Casey and the girls will get to meet some of these people that I've had the chance to meet, because in all these places it's been a super big encouragement to me to meet some of these guys, hear their stories, and hear about the work that they're doing, and just see the dedication and perseverance that they have to the works that God has called them to. And it's just like any and all of us. We're all called to different places at different times to do different things, and it's all about just taking steps of obedience to what God has called us to. It may be where you're, in your workplace, where you're going to school, wherever God has planted you, He has a mission for you in that place. And so I encourage you to live that out, whatever that looks like. We've all been sent, and one of the little catchphrases that I've kind of grabbed onto during this phase of our ministry has been live sent. And I encourage each one of you to do that. Live sent. Wherever you go tomorrow, live as though God sent you to that place, because in fact that's what He has done, and He has a purpose for you there. He has a plan for you there, and so I encourage you to live that out and live in a way that honors Him wherever you are, wherever your mission field is. Be in that place and be obedient to that call.
Okay, do we have two more questions?
All right.
Miss Barbara Skinner wants to know where in North Georgia we are, and Miss Barbara, we will text you that. We try to be, just because we live in such a interesting world now in 2022, we try not to, on social media, I try not to say exactly specifically, just in case y'all are wondering why we evade that question sometimes. I try not to say specifically where we're staying and current time, just for a little bit of security and protection. So we'll text you all those details. Also, girlies, Miss Greer, she says, how far out do you plan your ministry trips and locations? And that's a great question, because that's something we don't always talk about as kind of our planning process. She will understand. Miss Greer also lives, this was the girls' assistant principal in Tifton. And she and her husband also full-time in their RV, so it's super fun to get to stay in touch with them. So she'll understand from the RV side. So it's kind of twofold. Our ministry, from the ministry standpoint, we're looking ahead, 2 and 3 months in advance, would you say? Just
right,
to kind of...
right now we have, ideas, not hammered out specific dates yet, but we have a plan up through June.
Yes, we're kind of looking big picture. Here we saw, so if you run out of crazy things to watch on TV, because the Olympics are about to end and there's crazy stuff on TV, you can go, another channel that we love on YouTube is, and that we watched a lot of in the beginning, is a couple called, their YouTube channel is called Keep Your Daydream. And here's how they explained one time their travel, and I thought it was an interesting. They talk about just the big things, the big rocks that they put into their equation or into their bucket, and then they kind of fill in with the small things accordingly.
Some of our people on here are remembering a Sunday school lesson that we did, talking about how you use your time.
Yes.
And if you put the big rocks in first, then the other things can fill in around it. This is a similar concept, but
yes. And so big picture, we're looking out several months as far as ministry. Then when it comes right down to it with all the small details, right now I have our reservations done out through the end of March. So that kind of gives you an idea. We have to kind of hover in that balance of we can only, in some of our membership clubs, we can only reserve out so far. So I kind of hover in that balance of staying enough ahead of myself that it's not stressful, but not so far ahead that we don't have some flexibility just in life in general. So hopefully that answers that question.
And then when we get, when we're approaching a city that we're going to, oftentimes it's about 2 weeks out that I begin making contact to try and set up appointments, that kind of thing. In some of the, like with New Orleans, I'm already in communication there, trying to get some things set up, because we're looking to do some mission trip type things with another family on their spring break during that time, and so I've been a little bit further ahead on that city, setting up some of those details for that time there.
Okay, another question. Kenny asked, do you ever run into people you've met at one RV park at another RV park? And have you had a chance to start a small group at an RV park yet? So the first part of the question is, we have on maybe 2 or 3 occasions, especially once we get back into New England, so one of our big membership programs that we're a part of is called 1,000 Trails. I think we've mentioned it before. And in those, a lot of full-time people and families especially are members of 1,000 Trail. So once we get back into that system, where we're in that system more often than we have been, then we oftentimes, there have been several occasions where we've seen a family again or cross paths with people that we, so I think that's the best.
Yeah, and then as far as starting a small group in a campground, most of the places we've been, the longest we've been is maybe 7 to 10 days, and so we haven't had that opportunity. I definitely do see potential for a ministry that might be kind of an online community, small group thing within the RV community. If you happen to be in the RV community and you're interested in something like that, shoot us a message, because that's something that we would definitely be interested in.
Yeah.
We haven't had that opportunity yet, but I see the potential for that ministry because it is different. Being on the road, being in a different church every Sunday. For many, they may, attend their online services of their home church. For us, we're in a different church every Sunday, and we often say that we are welcome everywhere. We don't really belong anywhere. And so that aspect of community is something that we honestly miss. And so I see the potential for developing something like that in the future because it's definitely a need that is there. So that's a great question.
Yeah, and one of the things that, in the beginning, as most of you know, in August we began this new season of life, and literally every single aspect of our life was new. And so one of the things that we've talked about, just now that we're most certainly not experts on anything, hear me out, but we do feel like we have a little bit of a handle on some of the new things. As far as, we're in a routine with school. We don't, living in the RV feels a little more normal now. It doesn't, there are some things that so one of the things that we've talked about this spring especially is just getting into kind of finding community within the RV world, finding people that are, like us, or that have teenagers, or, finding that community in the RV world. And so we'll kind of be exploring, what that looks like for us, but then also how our ministry and RV worlds can merge. That's something we've talked a lot about too. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Let's see what else. Oh, Miss Greer said their campground has a pastor and church services.
We have been in a couple of parks that have had something like that. When we were in Pigeon Forge, the campground that we were at actually had a church that met in their community building there, but it was seasonal. And so I think at the end of October, they don't meet any longer. With the up there, it's cold and things slow down, and so they pick back up when the weather warms up. And so yeah, that's something that there are several. I know the one we stayed at in Dade City, Florida, they had a church service there at the campground, and so that is something that a lot of them do have. And but like I said, we're often trying to connect with church planners, so even in parks where that may be a option for us, we're going into other places.
Interesting too, because the only place we've been that really has a full, Florida has campgrounds that are open year round and that people are at year round. As we head back up into New England, that's one of the reasons we're having to wait until April to head into New England, is because campgrounds don't open. And so it's a little bit of a different dynamic in Florida than it is everywhere else from that standpoint at campgrounds.
Definitely.
Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, Miss Greer's full of good questions tonight. She said some people might be interested in knowing how you keep up with state standards and requirements for the girls as you homeschool. So here's interesting. Here's the joke that I tell sometimes. So, I have never claimed to be an early arrival person.
Pause. She might not want to say too much here, because if the wrong people see this, things may change drastically. But
Miss Greer was always on my side, and she always helped me with this. But I have never been known to be early to an event or to school.
Or anything.
And so I ended up, I think, meeting with 3 different school social workers in Tifton to assure them that I had my children in school and doing what they were supposed to do.
Because they weren't in school or were tardy too many times.
So the irony of that is that in the state of Georgia, all you have to do is click one button on the state of Georgia's website. With your declaration of intent to homeschool, you notify your county of origin or whatever, and that's it. So those are the only standards that Georgia puts out there. That being said, we are still keeping up and following kind of along the similar of the 4 academic subjects that the girls did in school. With we do a language, a history, a science, and a math. I do a lot of talking to other homeschool mamas, especially in the high school realm, because we have smart kiddos that can all read and write and add and subtract really well, but I do want to make sure that I'm current as far as making sure Chloe has everything that she needs on a transcript for college. So, there you have it.
Yes, yes. I don't know if you can see behind us, but this is a really cool campsite. We're faced this way, and behind us is all wooded. We have our lights strung up between the trees. We have 3 hammocks set up, and
You can't really see that.
We're really praying that Lord will shift the rain clouds that are supposed to come in so that we can have some.
it's supposed to rain
It's
like
supposed to
4
rain
days
like the
in
next
a row,
3
but-
days, so we're hoping it does. So anyway, we have kept you all a while tonight, but it's been fun.
Yeah, thanks for asking questions. Thanks for joining us on here, and this is something we look forward to each week. And we missed you last week, and we're glad to be back with you this week, and hope that you all have a great week this week.
Yep.
Live sent.
There you go. All right, thanks so much. Have a good night.